out of this. And Masai always shares his story, about how he all started in the game, how much basketball has given him so much. And that's exactly why, he's giving out. But this year, I like the fact that he's not only going to stick with Nigeria. Now, there's a bigger shoe. Now, he's going to Ghana. From Ghana, he's going to Kenya.
Wow.
I also hear Rwanda, too, is also in the books. Exactly. So, moving around all the African countries, trying to get all the good talents, you could think of. And one way or the other, Masai is also part of the Basketball Without Borders program, which, of course, is the bigger picture, because some of these guys, who will be invited, to that camp, and we've seen a whole lot of players graduate from the Basketball Without Borders program, to the US. And just of recently, the biggest name you think of is Yogi Dieng, who, of course, is playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA. A number of them have done that. Serge Ibaka, just mentioned some of the big names, that have been part of that program. So it's really good to see quality stuff, being handed out here. And, you just have to tip your hats off, for a man like Masai, with so much responsibility. When you're talking of the GM, he's in charge of everything that happens, on the team, both from the coaching, both from the coaching perspective to the players, and yet he still has that ample time, to spend this couple of them. Exactly, wonderful stuff.
All right, so once again we commend Masai Ujiri, and every year he comes around with a lot of balls, shoes, jerseys for these boys, and I'm sure that makes a lot of impact in the lives of these young ones. Well, Yemi, I was almost calling you Yemi. Femi, what exactly is next in line? What's happening in Kaduna? Let's go to Kaduna very quickly.
Well, it sounds alike, so if you call me Yemi,
it's Yemi and Femi almost the same. What is happening in Kaduna?
Yes, it's just similar to what Masai is doing, what Mobolaji is doing. This season, a lot of coaches and people who love basketball tend to take advantage of the time, because most kids are at home. So we give them summer camps, teach them basketball. This is the one-wing camp in Kaduna by a coach called Coach Christy Mark. She's actually played in the Nigerian Basketball League for some years, for GT 2000 of Kaduna. Yes, really small kids, catching them very, very young. She too has a very similar story to that of Masai. Played, just for a while and then decided to give back to it. And I like the support she got. Coach Adeka Daudu was actually part of this camp in Kaduna before joining up with the big man camp. We also saw the likes of Coach Charles Ibeziako, also of the Raptors Academy, and some of our league stars. I saw one of the Tigress players, Atosu Upe, also coming around to give a talk. She actually even gave a lecture, about being about self-esteem, and of course showing character as a lady and also as a basketball player. I can see her standing there. So I must say, kudos to all the coaches and the basketball players actually giving back. And that's the beautiful thing about the game of basketball. It teaches you a whole lot of things, and you can only just think about going back to your roots and giving back. You've mentioned Masai, a former player too, look where he is. Mobolaji Akio, they're also doing something similar, and Christy Mark as well doing something similar. I think you only see this in basketball.
And of course, you also remember Olumide
Oyedeji as well. Yes, his camp will be coming up in September. And his camp is coming up
very soon.
Exactly.
And he's also doing something for secondary schools.
Yes.
And tertiary institutions as well.
So you look at the game of basketball, I think sooner than far before we know it, I think basketball will just catch up, with the game of football, with the way all our stars are coming back home, are investing, and these stars are being, broadened out every day, every time. Because if this kind of things continue like this, in no time, you see Nigerians everywhere. And of course, that's a lamplight or a touch light to progress in the game of basketball, because talent is the most important thing. When there's talent, you have to look for avenues to use them. Then we start participating in all of these competitions. For example, this year we are not participating in under-16s for a very long time, but because of programs like that of Mobolaji, and the big man camp,
we went all the way to the finals. And we have a chance of going to the World Championship next year.
Exactly.
Now that you talked about under-16, let's say something again about under-16. This one, not very pleasant. The girls went and got to the final, went all the way to the final. But it's not the same story for the boys. And let's run through. Femi, I'm afraid to read out some of those results, so I just ask you to take us through these results.
Okay, I think the best point of it is that we got to the quarterfinals. Okay. And then we met the defending champions in the quarterfinals.
And then we lost by almost 30 points.
Yes.
All right, but then watch out for that result that we got in one of our group games, I think. against Egypt.
Yes.
Femi, what happened in that game? Were we playing with an incomplete team or what?
Well, I didn't watch that game, so I really can't say much. But I know we're playing against a very tough opposition. Egypt have won.
That was a blowout.
Absolute blowout, you know. But you look at the pedigree of the Egyptian program at youth level. You tip your hat for them. Even in the female perspective too, they've gone to the finals 3 times. You know, in a row. Same for the boys too. They've gone to the finals 3 times.
We beat them in the women's
in
event.
the groups, yes.
But the guys we thought were going to build on it, look at the way they fell.
Well, I wasn't confident enough when I saw Egypt coming, because Egypt up until that point, you know, haven't scored anything less than 95 points in all their games.
And against
they
us,
scored
107.
The game before us, they actually scored 145. So looking at the scoreline, I was very pessimistic that we were going to win. So Equatorial Guinea also was the only game
we won that one.
We won
we lost to Mali.
Then we beat Rwanda too in our last group game, 72-68. But
the
the quarterfinals, we were playing the first team, you know, in the other group, because we were bottom of for 4th in our group. And of course, it was
the end of the road.
End of the road for them. So the boys, of course, will be coming back home very soon. But there's usually room for classification games. You know,
for FIBA,
which I hope they'll play for, you know, a sport, and hopefully at least they get one more win before they come home, and at least 3 wins
gain experience, and they know how to prepare better.
Exactly, because preparation is actually, you know, what
very key.
What cost us, you know, all of this. There was really very little time for the boys to come together and practice, you know, bringing them together. I must say, this is an eye opener, because we got a wildcard entry, we didn't qualify. So I guess that's one of the reasons. But we must sit back and look at this and, you know, map out a way forward. You know, in going to all these competitions, it's high time we begin to plan very well, because some of these boys too, we need them to be in the right frame of mind, because a few of them are still young, and you know, it might be disturbing for them. All right,
let's take a look at the other quarterfinal fixtures. Femi, let's talk about them very quickly. What are the other fixtures for the quarterfinals of the FIBA Africa Under-16 Championship?
Yes, some of the results are already out, as you can see on the screen.
Okay, Mali against Morocco.
Yeah, Mali against the game actually just finished now, and Mali won that game, convincingly, I must say. They won 76-34.
Okay, so Mali
are through to the
semis. And then look at Egypt. That was a close game. Close game against Tunisia, 93-85. And then, of course, Algeria, 62-41 over South Africa.
Egypt scored 90 points again.
93 points again against a tough Tunisian side.
Wow, I see them
high scoring game.
I think it's going to be between them
Egypt
and
Angola.
And Angola at the end of the day.
All right, so these are the quarterfinals for you. Mali already took out Morocco. Egypt took out Tunisia. And of course, Algeria took out South Africa. Let's come now to the big one. The final ATM is, I beg your pardon, Femi, is progressing quite well. And let's take a look at the fixture that you have. Run us through the fixtures of the DSTV Premier Basketball League Final 8.
Yes.
That
is opening day fixture. The opening day fixture is going to start jump off on Sunday at the National Stadium.
That's the best 4 teams from Savannah
and
best 4 from
the Atlantic Conference. Exactly. So it promises to be a cracker. It's going to run up until Friday. So any of the days you're free from Sunday to Friday,
go and catch the best of basketball.
It's Gombe Bulls against Nigerian Customs. We have Jordan Warriors against Kada Stars. Union Bank will play Kano Pillars, and I think there will be a real big fight between Mark Mentors and Lagos Islanders. So the other days, we will be giving you more of the other fixtures, you know, as they come up. But certainly these games are the games that will take place on Sunday. Match will start from 12, and we have 2, we have 4 o'clock, and 6 p.m. will be at the jump ball time for the last game, you know, on the fixtures.
All right, so those are fixtures for the Final 8 opening day. Please create time next week to enjoy some of the best basketball that you can find on the domestic scene. Well, last weekend, the first time ever in Africa.
Yes, it was remarkable stuff.
NBA game in Africa.
NBA game in Africa.
Team World against Team Africa.
Yes,
fantastic
it was
experience.
fun. It was fun all the way.
And Nigeria had good representation.
Exactly. We had, well, you might want to say 3, although 2. In Festus Ezili and
Adetokunbo.
Yes, I saw
the way that is spelled. You wouldn't know that they are talking about Adetokunbo.
Exactly. Full-blooded Nigerian parents, but was born and brought up in Greece.
Gregarian.
Gregarian. Okay, we'll add that to the dictionary, as soon as we leave the studio. But it was good to see all of those guys come out, to come and play and enjoy it. But the best part of that was actually the fact that all the players wore the individual uniforms, of their teams. And yes, the icing on the cake was definitely seeing Hakim, come on the floor and did